William, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
that's much better. Thank you, William. So I was telling our audience, I lived in Newtown for a long time, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I left in 2010, but tell me what's going on. What happened in Newtown?
Lots of changes since 2010,
Yeah,
especially considering the horrible tragedy that happened in
right.
2000 and I believe it was 12
Yes,
with the Sandy Hook. Yeah,
yes.
lot of changes since you left the town. But as of recent, probably the most concerning situation that's going on is since 2020 when there's been a formation of a group of activists that they call themselves the Newtown Allies. Newtown Allies for Change is their professional, and they are an outgrowth of the George Floyd riots, and they represent activism, and they're especially pro DEI and trying to bring Newtown to what they would like it to be in their eyes, which means they've come into our schools and in a very big way. Right now, there's a teacher in the behavioral therapist. I'm not going to use names, but
Right, that's fine.
it's
That's
very
fine.
well known the situation that's existing, and she is, well, I can be straight. She's a racist.
Mhm.
There's no other way to put it. She is very proud of her positions, which I do support. She's allowed to say or do whatever she likes. I'm a big pro First Amendment guy, and I believe in this, but not when you're dealing with children. And
Exactly.
you know what? And there, you have to draw the line somewhere. And she's a behavioral therapist in our school district. And the social media I'm not going to go into, but the stuff that she says is it's absolutely stunning. I think you've probably seen some of it. So discussing about President Trump, and she hates white people, and she's very proud of saying this. So she's working as a teacher, and several of these people, this group, the Newtown Allies, is filled by teachers. They're the teachers in the high schools, teachers in the lower schools are members of this group, along with most of the DTC in the town. The chair of the DTC is an ally, and several of the people that sit in legislative council and various different volunteer positions across the government.
And the DTC is the Democratic Town Committee because a lot of people
Yes,
here aren't from
yes,
Connecticut. So
right.
go ahead.
So
Yeah.
so what we're really talking about is they're a sub chapter, in my opinion, of the DTC. They do they push the progressive stuff that's out there. They do the work for the Democratic Party, and which includes all of the DEI work and the progressive policies all the way across. And it's very concerning because they've infiltrated the school districts. At the end of the school year, they go in and hand out cash awards to the teachers that support their agenda and push it in front of our children. They do blackboards in the schools. They're in the public library in the town. You walk through the door and you see all their information and a huge painting that's called the Newtown Allies, and all the books that they promote and everything are all in the library for the kids and for the adults as well. They're also involved with the police. They're running programs through the police department. And they use tactics. If you don't agree with them, they cancel you, and they call your employers. They have lists on the businesses that display signs of Republicans or of Donald Trump. It's a pizza guy in town that puts out the signs, and then they cancel you. They have a list and they publish it and they put it out there, and they call whoever they disagree with. They call the employers of these people that speak up against it.
You know what caught my eye, William, is that we have been doing some reporting in the past in Westport, and there was a group that came into Westport almost 20 years ago, well, maybe 15 years ago, called Team Westport, and the town actually gave them a lot of power, and it's like this uncontrolled Politburo that has influence over the police, over the town government, over Park and Rec, over everything. It sounds extremely similar to what you're talking about.
You're absolutely correct. It is very similar, and it's happening not just in Newtown. I mean, it's all over. But yes, this Westport is very, very similar, and the town just doesn't seem to do anything about it. While I was the chair, it was a big concern to me, and I have an 11-year-old in the school district, and I was concerned about these books that were being pushed in front of the children at the time, which were very, very mature. You and I would not be in a discussion between the two of us, would not feel comfortable
Right.
with the themes that were in these books. And, we, a few of us signed these book challenge forms that were requested by the school district. Well, they took the forms, they FOIA'd them the first minute they got the chance. Then they took our names and they doxed us across the entire state of Connecticut with every major, and called the employers of these people. And so they intimidate you into silence. You're not allowed to have a different opinion, in other words.
I mean, this is like brown shirt behavior. I mean,
Yeah,
this
it really is. They might as well
wow.
have hoods on, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's that serious. And go ahead.
And why does the townspeople not, confront this?
I think it's twofold.
Mhm.
One thing is, I'm not sure that many people are really aware in the town what's going on. They operate in a way that's very unusual, only where they need to be, where they can flex their muscles. But if you went up to the general person in Newtown and said, do you know anything about the Newtown Allies? They have no clue. They don't even know what's going on. And those that do, like, they just immediately shut down, and they don't want to touch it because they're worried about their kids. They're worried about their livelihoods. And they just, and that's it. They shut down.
That's a shame, because we need courage right now, especially it's not going to get any better for your kids if the town gets worse and worse and worse. So
well, they have to do something with the school district. It starts with the kids. It really starts there. It's fine for the Allies. As I said, I'm a big believer in the First Amendment, and they can exist. We all can exist peacefully, but it doesn't give us the right to go in and start to go after our children.
How is crime in Newtown? Because are they blocking the police from doing certain things?
There are things that are going on that have come to my attention. The police, I think, feel I'm hesitant here because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think the police feel in a sense that they can't act. They're afraid to act. Does that make again? They're intimidated. They'll use the term. I know of a specific situation with one person who they've threatened to murder her, run her over with cars and everything else, and the police say, "Oh, but they're protected class. There's nothing we can do."
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. And they're like, they throw their hands up in the air, and I think in the end of the day, maybe now things are going to change. That for a while, for the last 4 years, they were probably just not quite sure what to do with the whole situation since the George Floyd, and especially since they're an outgrowth of the George Floyd movement. So they're afraid. I think the police in general are afraid to really act.
They're afraid for their jobs, I guess.
Yeah, afraid for their jobs, and also they go into the police and they train them. They actually want to train them on their thinking, and look, they want everything to be inclusive, which is fine. That's great. It's all wonderful. But in the end of the day, we don't go in and I'm a very conservative person, but I don't go in and ask the school district to read certain books or that's neutral territory.
Right.
Everybody has to exist here. It can't just be my way.
I've got the site. By the way, you probably didn't hear, but right before you came on, we had a massive DDoS attack, and all of our sites went down, all 13 of them.
Oh,
and
no.
We've been dealing with this. So somebody doesn't want you talking out there, William. It's quite interesting. We have the sites back up, and I have the Connecticut Sentinel up on the screen now. You can go there and just search for Newtown, and this article will come up. It's the first in a series. There's going to be a lot more about this. And as you said, this is blowing up everywhere, right? I mean, it's kind of like when the French Revolution ended, Robespierre was up giving the next list of people that had to be guillotined, and somebody just shot him in the face. So and then the French Revolution was over. It seems very similar type of phenomenon.
It's very similar, and I have to give a shout out to the Connecticut Sentinel because they've been very helpful. They've really uncovered a lot and been very courageous.
Special report. Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Just to be able to report on this, and they've shined a very bright light on what's going on here, and people are waking up. The Fox News has been in contact with me.
Wow.
I was on WTIC 2 days ago with Reese on Reese, and I mean, people were finally starting to think like, maybe I can speak up. This has got to stop. You know, I think the turning point was what happened with Charlie Kirk. I think people said enough is enough of this.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of getting shot in the face, very close.
Right.
So I listened to your WTIC with Reese on the radio early this morning or late last night, and you were saying that they're giving cash rewards to people that do what they want.
Yes, they go into the schools. They go into the school at the end of the year, into the school district, and they hand out cash awards to the teachers that they feel are supporting their agenda and promoting it.
Wow.
Yeah, and what's even more wow is that the school allows this.
Yeah, how does that happen?
Well, that's where it goes, because many of these people in the school are very, very progressive in their thinking, and they're a member of the organization.
Wow.
So they have, you know, and this is all the way across the board. They're involved in the town government, you know, very similar to what's happening on a national level.
Well, you told me you've already said that they've threatened to murder people, but you said one woman got physically assaulted.
Yeah, there's another case of they're a very eclectic group. You have to understand the actual founder is a very intelligent and bright woman, and she was a lawyer, an attorney, a litigator, very, very intelligent, well-spoken. And then we go to the other side of the gamut where there's people that are completely uneducated and pole dancers and in New York City and things like that, OnlyFans people. And one of their members attacked another person that had a different opinion in the Starbucks. Yep, just went after her, and they got into a fight, and it was all in the paper. They didn't use names. Again, the paper was afraid. The police withheld her name because of this.
Jeez.
Yep.
Jeez.
And she really beat the daylights. I think she was on Reese. I think she came out yesterday and spoke to him yesterday about it.
Wow. We'll try to get her on the show.
So people were afraid. You got to understand. People really, they're like, I have very good friends, and I try to talk to them about it, and they're like, no, look, our kids are in school. We just got to get through this. We get done and get out of here.
That's so unfortunate. You know, get a band of parents together and stand up, and you know, there's strength in numbers, right?
There is one of the big problems, and I have to say it's both sides. I am going to be. I was the leader of the Republican Party, and I turned Newtown red actually in 2021. Designed a strategy that was able to return the town back to conservative control. But the Republican Party they're afraid.
Yeah, well, that's all over the state, obviously.
Right. You know, they're afraid to say anything. They don't like controversy. They would not support us. With the books, there was 10 families there that had signed those challenge forms. They refused to get behind them. They refused to get behind the Republican Board of Education members that were involved, that were being attacked. They were throwing water bottles at the Board of Education members during these books and screaming from it was like a riot. And they were screaming from the audience, calling these women 4-letter words that we don't say for women. And I mean, it was like you'd never seen anything. You're like, is this really 2023 right now? What I'm viewing here?
We've regressed in many
many
ways.
I mean, you couldn't, and it was crazy. I mean, and the Republicans just simply like, oh, listen, this is an election year. We can't get involved here. Shut it down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of their own fault.
Have you looked into, or do you know where the funding's coming from?
I would suspect, and this is of opinion only.
Hmm.
I would suspect that they're tied to probably Black Lives Matter and George Soros.
Hmm.
I would assume the founder is pretty sophisticated person,
Or
and
some NGO in that network.
something of there.
Yeah.
And one of the most concerning things that I know, and this was by the top person in Newtown that told me this. I remember there was an incident, about 2-3 years ago, that involved some scarecrows in the community center during Halloween. You're allowed to come in and decorate a scarecrow in for a decoration for Halloween on the lampposts. So the Allies came in and they chose a conservative Board of Education member to mock him, and they put his hat on, the exact hat. He's an older man. He's probably in his 80s, and they wrote on the scarecrow on a T-shirt, I have patriotism is racism is not patriotism.
Patriotism. Yeah.
Right. Racism is not patriotism, and they put it on the, and it was a scarecrow of this guy. It was mocking him.
That's a direct threat.
Yes, it is. And I went in and I spoke to the head guy, who I knew very well, and he was very upset. And he said, "Look, William, I've gone the gamut with these people. What do you think? What do you think?" And he said, "Here's the deal. They're a 501c. But they're not. They're not registered as a 501c." And he said they're taking donations.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said, "There's where the bone's buried." And at the time, I didn't think too much about it. I had 5 or 6 people with me that were outraged about that scarecrow. And recently, the Connecticut Sentinel said to me, "Are you aware of this?" And I said, "Yeah, I remember that. I remember something about that." So they do take donations. They're a large group. They have a large outreach. They do a lot of emails to people and programs and training. They actually train people. You can join their programs now and have your children come in and be trained by them. Yep.
Wow. And you said that the person that runs this is a high-powered attorney out of New York. Is that right?
Lives in Newtown now.
Wow.
New York, Ridgefield, then into Newtown. And I'm sure, in the end of the day,
She was placed there. Yeah.
I'm sure that she's, as I said, she's very, very educated and very, very put together. And she's sincere. I'm sure she believes what she's doing is the right thing. And it very well for her might be the right thing, just like what I think I'm doing is the right thing. But it does not give you the right. You're crossing the lines when you're going into the schools and trying to take over a town. That's not the way things work. We all have to get along together, and we all have to be able to exist, and it just can't be one way.
Well, we're going to look into this whole network because obviously it's at least a statewide kind of effort, and possibly, I would think, national. And our paper, the Sentinel, needs to continue looking into this in the great state of Connecticut, which is the cradle of liberty. It's literally where
the Constitution state.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Constitution state. But I mean, the state we have a lot of work to do in the state. It's also good. It's riddled with problems.
Well, that's a great segue. What needs to happen? Let's say somebody in Connecticut's listening to this. What do they need to do?
Well, I at this point, I don't think this is a conversation we want to really start at this moment. My opinion is what needs to happen here. But for starters, we need to go back to a government that's not run by a single political party. There should be a balance. We need a healthy balance. We haven't. In 1996, Connecticut was solid number 1 state in the union. Today, we sit at the very bottom.
Right.
In 1996, we had a different government running the state. We've got big problems with union pensions that are looming. We have the highest electricity, at least one of the highest electricity rates in the nation. We're number 3. We have the highest taxes in the nation, one of the top 3. And this stuff has to be looked at and dealt with. We have to get in and really figure out what we're going to do, to fix, because it's a great state. I love Connecticut. But single party doesn't work. It doesn't work in California. It doesn't work in Connecticut. It doesn't work in New York. We have to learn to be responsible and not use our progressive failed policies that obviously we know that they don't work.
They sure don't. And I was very involved in politics back in the 90s in Connecticut, and I remember. I mean, there was GOP congressmen everywhere. It's just not that way anymore.
It's amazing because Connecticut, I was drawn to Connecticut. I bought the home in Newtown as a second home from New York City, where I lived. I was a very successful traveling concert classical cellist. And I wanted to be there because it was a break. But everything changed. Everything has changed. And look, the pendulum swings. It always happens. So I assume at some point it will swing back. And hopefully we get to the center. And
Well, it takes courage, and it takes effort, and it takes local engagement. So, that's what has to happen. I mean, people have to feel pain, I guess, to get involved, to save their children's future.
Yeah, it's about the
know.
kids. That's what that's what it's about for me. And I think we need to look and finally stand up and say, hey, that's enough of this.
Yeah.
Being told that this is the way it's going to be. And it starts at the voting booth. But again, there's something out there right now. And I've seen the papers, and they're in front of the SEC. There was 265,000, if I remember correctly, more votes than there are voters in Connecticut in 2024.
Yeah. The whole mail-in ballot. And
Yeah.
the whole issue.
So,
It's a multiple
that needs to be
pronged
dealt with.
attack.
And I think that it will all come to a head if we can have a federal intervention, and they begin to take a look and study some of this stuff and see what's going on and figure it out, and try to right the ship, so to speak.
Before 2026. So we got to get moving. At least get some of these vectors of fraud out of the way.
Well, I will tell you that I am Connecticut Unite on X, and I have a group of people that are working hard, and that are all trying to right the ship here. So, and the Connecticut Sentinel has been very helpful for us, and we thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been the team for, by the way, for our audience, Connecticut Sentinel. Let me put that one more time. It's our paper in Connecticut, spelled with a C, the old revolutionary way. We get a lot of, when we started it, I had a lot of people, you're so stupid, you don't even know how to spell. I said, go read the history books. Anyway, thank you very much, William. We want to have you back as things progress, because Newtown is a special town. It's beautiful.
It really
needs
is.
to be restored.
It does. It's a great town. Newtown's a special place, and it really deserves better than what's happening. We're going to fix it. I appreciate all your help, and look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you for having me.
You bet, and look forward to October for Halloween in Newtown.
Thank you very much. I hope to meet you sometime.
All right,
Thanks again.
sure.